Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are cracking the code on some of the absolute most frustrating VA disability ratings out there, neurological conditions. We're going to dive deep into the VA's own rulebook to help you understand how these claims are really supposed to be evaluated. So let's just dive right into it. Have you ever gotten a rating decision, looked at it, and just thought, this makes no sense? Your rating just doesn't match your reality. Well, you are definitely not alone. So many veterans get stuck with these lowball ratings for incredibly painful, debilitating conditions. We're going to break down exactly why this happens and what the VA's own regulations say about how it all should work.
All right, let's start with a big one. Probably one of the most common issues veterans face, getting the right rating for migraines. We're talking about diagnostic code 8100. And let me tell you, it's about so much more than just the pain of the headache itself. So the absolute key to unlocking higher ratings for migraines is understanding the VA's very specific language. And the single most important word you have to know is prostrating. Now, this doesn't just mean you feel unwell or have a bad headache. Nope. In VA terms, it means the migraine attack is so severe it completely knocks you out of commission. You have no choice. You have to stop everything you're doing and go lie down. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Look at this chart. You see that word prostrating for both the 10% and 30% ratings, right? The main difference there is just frequency, how often they happen. But look at that huge jump to 50%. It requires something more. It's not just very frequent prostrating attacks, but also this extra phrase, severe economic inadaptability. What in the world is that? Well, this is it. This is the VA getting right to the heart of what disability ratings are all about. Their own rules say it's all based on the average impairment in earning capacity. So this is one of the few ratings where the VA is explicitly directly looking at how your condition affects your job. They're asking point blank, are your migraines making it hard or maybe even impossible for you to hold down a job and provide for yourself? So here's the crucial point. If you're going for that 50% rating, you have to prove the economic impact. The VA needs black and white evidence that your migraines are just wrecking your work life. This means getting statements from your boss or your coworkers. It means showing them your attendance records, all those sick days. You could even keep a log of every single time you had to leave your desk to go lie down in a dark office, or maybe even in your car. Okay, next up, let's shift gears and talk about nerve pain. We're talking about things like sciatica, or what the VA calls radiculopathy. You know, that shooting, burning, lightning pain that can just run right down your back, your arms, or your legs? Getting this rated correctly is a major battle for so many vets. And right here, this is probably the single most important concept in any nerve claim. It's the difference between sensory and motor symptoms. So sensory symptoms are all about what you feel, that tingling, the numbness, that awful burning pain. But motor symptoms, that's about what you can do, or more importantly, what you can't do anymore. We're talking about weakness, losing your balance, or having a really hard time gripping things. Now just take a look at this rating table for the sciatic nerve. You see the pattern here? The 10% and 20% ratings, those are for claims that are almost entirely based on sensory issues, the pain, the tingling. But watch what happens. The ratings jump, they really jump to 40%, even 60%, as soon as you can prove objective motor loss. That's when you see terms like measurable weakness or marked muscular atrophy. This right here, this really gets to the bottom line for any nerve condition. Basically, the VA gives so much more weight to objective, measurable weakness than it does to you just describing your pain, no matter how bad that pain actually feels. Think about it. A doctor can test your muscle strength and put a number on it. They can't measure your pain level. Okay, so what about really complex conditions like a traumatic brain injury or multiple sclerosis? Well, for those, the VA's approach changes a little bit. It's not just about one single symptom. It's about the total impact of the condition on your entire body. This is such a critical concept to grasp. When we're talking about TBI, that's diagnostic code 8045, or MS under code 8018, the VA isn't giving you a rating for just having the diagnosis. No. They are rating you for all of the individual problems, the residuals, that the disease or injury actually causes. So for a TBI, for example, you might have cognitive issues, balance problems, and migraines. Every single one of those is a residual that gets its own separate evaluation. Same thing for MS. You might have fatigue, weakness in your legs, and bladder issues. Each one is rated on its own, and then all of those individual ratings get combined using that fun VA math to come up with your final percentage.
So, you've got all this info about how the VA thinks. Fantastic. But how do you actually use it during your compensation and pension exam? This is where we turn all that knowledge into a real strategy.
The key, and I can't stress this enough, is to describe your condition on your worst days. Your VA reading is supposed to compensate you for the total scope of your disability, not just how you happen to feel on that one specific day you're at the exam. You have to be able to explain the full impact your condition has on your life.
I want you to use this simple 3-step formula. First, you just state the symptom clearly. I get severe throbbing headaches. Easy enough. 2, explain the impact. What does that actually mean for your life? When I get one, I have to leave work and lie down in a dark room for hours. And 3, this is the most important part. You prove it, and you can see it right here in my migraine log and my work attendance record. See how that connects your personal experience to the objective evidence the VA needs.
And remember, the VA's own rulebook, Section 4.1, requires accurate and fully descriptive medical examinations. So your job is to give them the evidence that lets them do that. This could be a detailed pain log, reports from your physical therapist that actually document weakness, or even statements from your spouse or your boss describing how they see your condition affecting you day to day.
So what's the big takeaway here? What's the most important thing to remember from all of this? It's that the VA rates functional impairment. It's not about the diagnosis. It's about your inability to live and work normally. Your diagnosis is just the starting line. The evidence you provide about your functional loss, that is what truly determines your rating.
Really think about that as you move forward. Whether it's starting that migraine log you've been putting off, or maybe asking a coworker for a quick statement. Heck, even just scheduling that physical therapy appointment. You really can take control of your claim. Thanks for watching The Explainer.